Welcome, this is Katy Mendoza, expanding consciousness in a fun and an adventurous way. In today's video, I want to talk about feelings, emotions, and I really want to take you into a journey to just see the two sides of how emotions can be created, right? And which one are you following and which one are you living with? So let's talk about your emotions, let's talk about feelings here and how they are created. The first question I want to ask you, and I want you to really take it on and really ask yourself, what do you think about this? Do you think that the outside circumstances that happen to you day by day are the ones that create your emotions? Or do you think that your emotions are created by the way that you think? So they're created by your thoughts. So if they are created by your thoughts, you are creating your emotions. So is this truth? Like, which one is the one that you go for? Is it you or is it the outside world? All right, now that you have that answer that you gave to yourself, right? Thinking that you are being very honest to yourself. This is my little Harry, say hi. Okay, so now, what it really is and what really made me, motivate me to like make this video and share it with you guys is because I watched a video by this guy named Leo with actualize.org, and he's just like incredible, he's amazing. So he was talking about how, we maybe are not conscious of this, but we have the habit of letting the outside circumstances create our emotions and dictate how our life is going to go. And he was also saying how it's not that the external world is creating our emotions. What's really happening is how we interpret what just happened to us and how we decide to think about the situation. How much power we are allowing an outside circumstance go into our life and dictate how we are going to feel. So what is creating your emotions, it's not the outside circumstances. What's creating your emotions is the way that you think about the outside circumstances. There's this quote by William Shakespeare: "There's nothing good or bad, but thinking makes it so." This quote really goes into depth in how we humans create our emotions. In my experience, I have been able to see how we have the power to turn a bad situation and to see into like the bright perspective and the positive perspective, and not let it sink to you, or not let it take all your energy and just make you depressed. I have been able to experience the power that I have, that we all have. It's just about being conscious of this power. The power of creating a good, a positive emotion out of a negative circumstance, because I am aware and I see that it's not what's happening outside, it's how I am seeing it and how I think of it. With consciousness and awareness, we can create a positive situation out of a negative one with our thoughts. So we can create positive emotions, positive feelings, no matter the circumstance, no matter how negative the circumstance may be in the outside perspective, just by being careful of our thoughts and how we are seeing the situation, our perspective of it. So yeah, things are gonna happen all the time, right? Negative, positive, and we cannot change everything. We cannot, not have something happen to us when it just happens, right? But we can change the way that we see the situation, how we think about that situation. Are we gonna let that situation ruin our life, or are we going to get stronger, learn from the situation, and move on? Not fall into the trap of that cycle of negative thinking because something bad happened to you, and then out of that, you continue thinking negative, something bad happens to you, and you continue negative, and then your life just becomes this cycle of negativity and negative situations that you are attracting and creating by your thoughts. So how we interpret a situation, and really with willingness and awareness, we can really work on that mastery of emotion. Being able to master your emotions can take you everywhere that you want. Like, it really gives you that strength. If you can, no matter what's happening, and you know how to control and master your emotions, you are great. That's something that you want to be able to be conscious and aware of, because you have the power to do so. If you're not having the results that you really want in your life, that is a sign of, having difficulties with your emotions. You're not seeing all these things that you want in your life, and you're not creating the type of life that you want, because all these emotions and all these difficulties, controlling your emotions, are blocking up, are just blocking everything up. They are blocking up your life from creating the life that you want. It's not a circumstance, it's how we interpret the circumstance. So our emotions are not created by what's out there. Our emotions are created by our thoughts, by the thoughts that we think. So if we're conscious about it, we are going to be conscious of what thoughts are happening. But sometimes, or a lot of times, or all the time, regularly, like, we're just going through life. We're just going through, and we're not really paying attention. What kind of thoughts am I having? Because these thoughts are creating my life. So we usually think like this: oh, that person makes me feel very happy. That person makes me feel very angry. Or, that situation is making me feel depressed. Or that situation, etc. So we are given the power to the situations or to people outside of us to see how we feel, instead of us taking responsibility for our emotions and just taking responsibility, not allowing the outside world affect how we are going to feel, but we taking the responsibility and the decision to how our life is gonna go, how we are going to feel, how do you want to feel, no matter what's happening. So we think that circumstances outside of us, pay attention about this, we think that circumstances outside of us create our emotions. And now, if that creates our emotions create an action. So depending on how you feel, you are going to take an action. If you feel angry, shady, whatever, that feeling and emotion, if you don't control it, is gonna make you go and take a negative, or just a negative action towards it. And the same thing, if you feel great, happy, you are going to take a positive action that's going to make a positive action in your life. Emotions lead to action, and actions lead to results, to the results that you want in your life. So you have control of your emotions. If you have control of your emotions, then you are going to take an action, a positive action, because you're controlling your emotion. With a positive action, is going to give you a good result in your life. So here, I'm gonna give you an example. Okay, so let's say you got a raise at work. So now, automatically, this happens very fast. So, you got a raise, you heard it, it came to your ear, you hear it, and now you're like, oh my God, that makes me happy. I am happy because I'm getting the raise. But what's really happening is that it's not that the raise is making you feel happy. Instead, is that that positive circumstance that's outside, the outside positive circumstance that happened to your life now that you received that raise, went inside and created those positive thoughts, creating your emotions. And now that positive emotion that you have, because you're happy and excited, you may now are going to take the action to work harder and harder and harder. So now you have a positive situation. The positive situation cause you the positive thoughts cause you the positive emotion cause you to take a positive action. The positive action may come and give you a positive result. Let's say maybe now if you work, if you got a raise that you feel happy, you work better, now maybe next year you get another raise or something like that. So it's creating that cycle of positive. Why? Because that gave you those positive thoughts. So that's what's really happening inside. But that's not how we really see it. So that's all that's happening when you're really conscious of it, and you have to really deep down sit down and see and visualize everything that just happened there, all those emotions. But what most of us see in a situation is that we think that the raise is the one that made us happy. The outside circumstance is not me, because it's not me. It's just because I got a raise that is happy, or because that person is in my life is that I'm happy. But it's not that person or that raise is making you happy. Is that you're using that circumstance, that outside circumstance, to create thoughts, positive thoughts in your head, to create positive emotions, to create positive actions that will create positive results in your life. So in here, when we're thinking about when you just got that raise didn't cause your emotion, that didn't give you an emotion. What that gave you is a thought. So if you continue thinking those thoughts, depending on what interpretation you are giving to that situation, that has no power over, it's just a situation, no good or bad. But the thoughts that you are thinking is what gives the power to the situation. So now your interpretation of the situation is going to make you think a certain thoughts are going to make you create the emotion for you to feel. And that emotion is going to create the action that you're going to take. So if we are not aware of the thoughts that are going through our heads, we are not using the power that we have to create and balance our emotions. So we can have positive emotions, so we can have positive actions, so we can have positive results and have a good life. So the interpretation that we give to a situation creates the thoughts, which the thoughts create your emotion. That emotion of like feeling excited because you got that raise. It's not the situation that did it, but the interpretation for you that it's a positive thing, and the thoughts that you thought that create that positive emotion that's gonna create a positive action in your life. And I know I keep repeating this because I want to make sure that you really are seeing the connection in all of this. So when you really think about it and see a situation, the emotions may really look like they are coming from the external situation, like you getting that raise. Yeah, I'm happy because I got the raise. The raise gave me the happiness. But no, it's not the raise that gave you the happiness. It's that how you are seeing that situation, what filter you are putting that to the interpretation. The filter in the interpretation of the situation is creating that emotion. So now that you have that emotion creates that action, right? And depending on what action you take, you're going to get the results. So the question here is, what kind of results do you want in your life? Depending on what kind of results you want in your life, now you know that you can be conscious and aware of your thoughts no matter what situations happen, so you can make the bad or negative situation something positive that's going to keep creating positive results in your life, to have a positive life, no matter the situation. But how you see it, what you create those thoughts to become those emotions. So this is really like the key to life. And then I feel like after we do it a while, it kind of comes more naturally. But of course, we're always gonna have those negative thoughts, or because it's instant that it happens after a situation happens, boom. But now we can sit back and be like, okay, something negative is happening here. Okay, cool. Yes, I have all these negative thoughts, no emotions, because they're not emotions yet, but I have all these negative thoughts. Before the emotion comes, what do I want? Do I want to create negative results out of a negative situation? Or I want to sit back, relax, breathe, really see what kind of thoughts I'm having, and just interpret that situation into something positive, to create a positive result, not to fall into that trap of that negative cycle of the negative thoughts that create negative emotions, that create negative results, actions and results. So that is the pattern to create better results in life, no matter the circumstances. It's almost like a superpower, to be honest, that we all have, right? And it's like that superpower is being able to assign meaning to a situation with your thoughts, to assign whatever interpretation you desire to a situation, to an external situation, to get the results that you desire in your life. And you are doing all of this with your mind, your powerful, amazing mind. Not using this superpower, not being aware and conscious that we are the ones that create our emotions. It just brings us to this chaotic life and to this not taking responsibility for what's happening in our life, and continuing to create the negative things and emotions. So it's very important to see that we are the ones who create our emotions, and to start taking responsibility for the way that we think. So talking about that raise again, the raise in general doesn't have a meaning. you give the meaning by the way that you see it and with your thoughts. You put that situation, you give that situation the power to be something positive in your life. You are the one who decides what power you want to give to an external situation. So now let's give you an example of a negative event, right? So now you have a negative event, or you think you have a negative event, but really it's not that you have a negative event. It's just an event. It's not negative or positive. It just is. It's just, anything in life. You are the one who's giving that negative to that event, and that's negative thoughts, or seeing that interpretation that you're giving now is going to cause thoughts, and those thoughts, if they're negative, are going to cause negative emotion, and those negative emotions, negative action, negative results. So when something negative happen in your life, this is when you can take this superpower and really be aware of it. It's like, okay, I'm starting to feel all this anger, all this, like, oh, you're not feeling the emotion here. You're starting to create that emotion with your thoughts. So when that happens, right there is when you're like, okay, do I want negative result? No. Do I want to have a negative life? No. Okay, so this is when I can use my superpower, and when something really bad happens, I get to see and create my own interpretation of the situation, shift my thoughts, so that I can either have a neutral emotion or have a positive emotion that's gonna create a better action, better results than if I have a negative emotion and then negative action and negative results, and then those negative results are going to create more. I'm gonna attract more negative outer circumstances, and then you're gonna go back in the cycle, and then that's when we get caught up in having a life, full of chaos, because we don't have the awareness, or we don't use this power of controlling, of being in charge of our thoughts. I'm saying, like, don't feel your feelings and you can never have a negative thought or whatever. No, it's, we're humans, it happens, right? You get to choose. Yes, you can, something bad can happen to you and you can just go up there and cry, and yes, I understand that it's bad, but so what? Do you want to just because of that, that's just how your life is gonna be now, or you want to get out of that cycle and shift it? Yeah, something bad happened to me or whatever, so I'm going to learn about it, and I'm gonna just get up and change it. I'm gonna get up, or maybe I cannot change it, but I'm gonna get up and put and use a filter to interpret that as something. Okay, you know what? Now I learned that I cannot do that now. Now, so shift to those thoughts, so you feel better, to create a better emotion, to create a better life. Don't get stuck in that negative thinking, and then you just get there sucked in for years, and you don't even realize that everything negative that's happening in your life is because you decided to take that interpretation into a bad thing. I know, it's crazy. So it's all about cycles of emotions. It's all about cycles. The question here is, what kind of cycles do you want to have? So the question here too is, do you recognize that you are creating your emotions through your thoughts and through the way that you interpret every situation that's happening to you? You are the one creating your emotions. So that's one option. Your other option is to be conscious and aware. I'm like, okay, I'm having a negative situation here. Before I get those emotions, do I want a negative result? Do I want a negative experience in my life? No. Oh no, okay, wait, but I can't really, I'm the one who gives the interpretation to the situation, so I have the power, that superpower. Okay, something bad is happening, but you know what? I'm not gonna give it the power nor that filter of interpretation that is negative in my life. And I am going to shift my thoughts so that emotion, that negative emotion doesn't come, so I don't have the negative action or the negative results. So the whole point of here is that you can win no matter what. If something positive comes to my life, then something good comes in my life, I'm gonna make it even better. If something negative comes in my life, then I'm going to make it better. And no matter what happens, universe wants to say hi. No matter what happens here, you end up winning. Because that's the type of, you don't want to just live to chance your life. you want to take responsibility and create the life that you want with your thoughts, and understanding that their circumstances have no power. You are the one who gives the power to them. And that's all I got for today. Here we are. Mwah, mwah. This is Universe, and this is Larry. Thank you for watching. I hope this made sense into your life. And yes, it doesn't mean that we're gonna be perfect all the time. Things are gonna happen, but I just want you to be aware. And the more awareness you have, the more conscious you are of what kind of thoughts you are having, you can have more control, and you can create a better life for yourself. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Have an amazing whatever else you are doing, and have a good life. Thank you so much for existing. Ciao.